This is the 80s Show on iHeartRadio. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Come on, let's go. Come on, let's go. Say ho, ho. Say ho, whoa, ho, whoa. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show.
World War I, known at the time as the Great War, that officially ended when the Treaty of Versailles was signed. That happened June 28th, 1919, in Versailles, at the Palace of Versailles in France. However, fighting stopped like 7 months earlier when they reached an armistice. Temporary cessation of hostilities, I think, is how that's defined. We're going to put down our guns and we're going to stop this. They reached an armistice between the Allied nations and Germany. That went into effect on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. For that reason, November 11th, 1918, generally regarded as the end of the war to end all wars. You ever heard the expression 11/11, make a wish? The armistice was reached, like I said, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. In November of 1919, President Wilson said, November 11th, I'm proclaiming this as the first commemoration of Armistice Day, saying, to us in America, the reflections of Armistice Day will be filled with solemn pride in the heroism of those who died in the country's service and with gratitude for the victory. Both because of the thing from which it has freed us and because of the opportunity it has given America to show her sympathy with peace and justice in the councils of the nations. There was an act which was approved in 1938 on the 13th of May. And what it did was it made the 11th day of the 11th month, November 11th, in each year, a legal holiday, a day to be dedicated to the cause of world peace and celebrated and known as Armistice Day. Armistice Day was primarily a day which was set aside to honor veterans of World War I, but in 1954, after World War II, there's a reason they call that the big one. After World War II had basically used the greatest mobilization of the military, soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen, in the history of our nation. After American forces had fought aggression in Korea, the 83rd Congress, at the urging of the veteran service organizations, they amended the Act of 1938. They struck out the word armistice and inserted in its place the word veterans. 1954, with the approval of this legislation on the 1st of June, November 11th became a day to honor American veterans of all wars. Later that same year, October 8th, President Dwight D. Eisenhower, he issued the first Veterans Day proclamation. I don't know if you had to sit through this in sixth grade history. I don't know if maybe you have it memorized. I don't know. All I know is it means significantly more to me now as an adult, as you make your way in the world, as you recognize the tremendous luxury we've been afforded by being born into the place we have. This means a lot, and I want you to listen to it. If you just hear one thing I say today, listen to this. The Veterans Day proclamation stated, in order to ensure proper and widespread observance of this anniversary, all veterans organizations, and the entire citizenry will wish to join hands in the common purpose Toward this end, I am designating the Administrator of Veterans Affairs as chairman of a Veterans Day National Committee, which shall include such other persons as the chairman may elect, which will coordinate at the national level necessary planning for the observance. I am also requesting the heads of all departments and agencies of the executive branch of the government to assist the National Committee in every way possible. In every way possible. Mobilize for our veterans. Every last woman, man, child. Recognize why we're here and who we owe this debt of gratitude to. In every way possible. You and I have talked about this a lot. 1 out of 3 homeless people is a veteran. We love to bandy around the word hero. That man fought for our country. He's a hero. Unless he's kind of like, I don't know, raggedy, downtrodden, homeless, shoeless, not knowing where his next meal's coming from. More than a little bit of crazy in his eyes standing on a corner asking you for money. In that case, just look straight ahead. Hopefully the light turns green before I can move forward. I'm not saying you can fix that. I'm not saying you can fix the fact that we celebrate a Veterans Day in a country where our soldiers are used up and tossed aside like they're broken. But we can do more, and we must do more.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Jimmy Page to talk about the beginning of he and Robert Plant's musical partnership.
I had material like Dazed and Confused. I had the whole arrangement together of Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You and the source of the verse. And it actually, I heard it on a Joan Baez in concert record. It's nothing like our version. But I did play him that original one. I thought it was, at the time, I thought it was a traditional song. I didn't know. Because I know that at the time those folk artists were doing lots of traditional songs. And plus she did like 3 in-concert albums. This is one of them, and I heard this track and I thought that's really haunting. Along the way, it was in the days of the Yardbirds, I'd come up with this, right on the tail end, I'd come up with this whole interpretation of how it could be done. So I got into my house and I was sort of presenting him these sort of things, these ideas. And, you know, we had a real good connection because he was, to be fair, even though he said he liked West Coast music or whatever, this clearly wasn't ever going to be anything like that. But he was up and open for the sort of things that I was sort of showing him, if you like. You know, I was opening up for him. So that was useful because, to be honest, if he hadn't sort of locked into it, then I'd have been looking for somebody else who was.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Jimmy Page and all your favorite artists.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Mumford & Sons, talking about the songs they look forward to playing in concert.
We're quite lucky because we're a collaborative effort, you know, so we also have quite a lot emotionally invested in all of the songs. It's an amazing thing to be able to say and a blessing, but like literally never even begun to get sick of any of the songs. We have enough, we play for like an hour and a half, so it's not like we're just playing the same song over and over again.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from your favorite artists.
It's just one of those days, can't get out of bed. Everything's wrong, can't get right in the head. Too drunk for a shrink, the pills ain't no good. They're just not working the way that they should. All this coffee, it just makes me shake. And everything I tried to do's a mistake. And everything I know is wrong again. And as the days just fall away, you wonder will it always be this way? And what is really left you can't believe it. You had so much you wanted, you thought you almost got it, but everything that's wrong is all you're seeing. Today could be a beautiful day.
So on a Veterans Day, when we're wondering what we can do, when we're wondering, okay, there's got to be a better way to get through today in an appropriate manner that doesn't involve deep discounts and big savings on mattresses and Korean cars sold to us by a Hispanic dude in an Uncle Sam suit. There's got to be a better way to observe Veterans Day than that. You might be wondering what you can do. You might be going, I don't know what I can do. I'm not sure. I want to observe Veterans Day in a way that's more meaningful than the aforementioned deep discounts and sweet savings. But I don't know how that would go. You know what? Do anything you can think of. Because we live in a place and time where so many people do nothing. Just nothing. And you don't have to have money to give to a veterans association. Wounded warriors like them a lot, if you are thinking of doling out cash. The people that teach transcendental meditation as a way to help soldiers get over their PTSD. David Lynch Foundation doing unbelievable work with veterans, especially those damaged by PTSD. See, we can patch them up on the outside in an obvious way, but it's the wounds that exist on the inside that are a little tougher to deal with. So maybe you get involved with an organization that helps with that. That's not pretty. That's not glamorous. That's not a photo op. That's dealing with people's minds in a very, very visceral, never really going to be all that pleasant sort of way. But it is incredibly important work. And maybe you do or maybe you don't have money to give to organizations like these. Don't be limited by money. Maybe you don't have time. Maybe you, like absolutely all of us in this country, are doing the work of 3 people and getting paid for 3/4 of a person. Maybe you don't have time to go volunteer. Maybe you don't have time or money to donate. But you know what? It's shocking to me whenever I've talked to soldiers, active, veterans, all of the above. Thank you for your service. An understanding of what they do on our behalves. The fact that they're willing to put our lives in front of their own and potentially make the ultimate sacrifice. That's the understanding when you sign up. You could die protecting America, protecting all of us. And just by the very nature of that, well, that involves a certain leap in a military person's psychology. You're basically signing up for the potential of death. And that's huge. And there's no way we can adequately thank someone for that. When someone's willing to lay down their life for you, no. There are no adequate words in the English language. However, saying thank you, recognizing what they've done, doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be showy, don't have to make a big deal of it. But, see a veteran, thank you for your service. Appreciate your service. Every veteran I've ever talked to about this, and I'm always shocked because it seems so inconsequential. Thank you for your service. Doesn't take away from the fact that you might die at work on my behalf. Doesn't mitigate that at all. But thank you for your service. I understand what the vows you took meant. Goes an awfully long way when I talk to my friends who are veterans or my friends who are currently in the military. So maybe you have time, maybe you have money, maybe you have the wherewithal to donate all of that to amazing service organizations. Maybe you want to play an active role. You want to get involved. You want to get on the field and play. And that's great. But don't think if you don't have that time, that money, those resources, that there's nothing you can do. A very, very simple thank you for your service. A handshake, a look in the eye, an understanding of the sacrifice someone was prepared to make on your behalf goes a lot further than you think.